This time I call the meeting to order. Ask Mr. Jamie White to please lead us in the invocation.
Let us pray. Our Father, our God, we just thank you for allowing us to be together this night. We ask that you would just guide us in this meeting. We ask you to just give us knowledge, wisdom, and understanding that we would take care of all of the matters that are before us. These blessings and all others we ask you in person in Jesus Christ's name for your sake. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Last time I declare we have a quorum. We've got all members present. Next, approval of agenda. I would like to have a motion to amend the agenda. We have an emergency decision that needs to be made regarding some economic development. The decision needs to be made by 8:30 a.m. tomorrow, which constitutes an emergency, which is legal to amend the agenda and take action on.
So move, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
Got a motion and a second to amend the agenda. Is there any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. And this will be discussed in our executive session when we come out. We'll hopefully report something. Can I get a motion to approve the minutes for April 9th and April 29th special call meetings?
So moved.
Second.
A motion and a second to approve the minutes of April 9th and 29th. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. This time I'd like to welcome everybody out. It's good to see a good crowd again. We'll jump right into public comments. Mr. Keith Browning, display of SIPS panels for new construction. Now we'll remind our public comments are limited to 3 minutes.
How are y'all doing this evening?
How are you?
Yes, sir. How are you?
What I'm bringing to show y'all, SIPs, structural insulated panels. We just got approval for funds for St. Mark's Fire Department, St. Mark's Community Center. Y'all are talking about metal buildings. These panels go up in a fraction of the time. They are more resilient than stick-built structures. Lots of times, if you look after disasters, the only houses that you will see or the only structures that you will see left are the SIPs buildings. This is also a viable option for a community for building affordable housing. It is a great option instead of mobile homes. Mobile homes do not increase the wealth of our people. This actually builds, it is a house. It's stronger than a regular house. It is a road to create wealth for our communities. And I brought this today so y'all could see this. I have more information coming, but it hadn't all arrived yet.
Is that the normal thickness for the walls, pretty much? Or just that outside
It
wall?
can be 2x4, 2x6, 2x8. It can be up to, I think, 12 inches.
And what's that, 4x4 or what?
This is actually a 2x6
Okay,
equivalency.
okay.
Like I said, energy efficiency is greatly energy efficient. Cost of building, you don't have the labor because it comes in 8x4 panels. You lock it in on the floor, then you start stacking them together, and you can put up an entire house, depending on the size of the house. You can put up an entire house in a week.
You can frame it in a week or put it out?
Frame it in a week,
Okay,
but then you have to finish it out.
yeah.
Now,
What you have for the, for your roofing? Is it
the
same?
roofing is actually the same thing. What they do is they put a laminated beam down the center, and the roofing goes on an angle, and it is secured to it.
Okay.
Now,
Using the same material?
same materials. Now, my background, besides the HVAC and teaching HVAC, which I do, I was also the certified building official for the town of Hampton. Same thing that y'all had
Had it open for?
had in here.
Yeah.
So I know about the stuff. I've been dealing with it.
Okay.
This is a great option to bring wealth to our communities, and that's why I brought it today.
Thank you very much. That's interesting.
Just one other question.
Yeah.
Chairman, compared to a conventional home, what's the percentage of cost? Is it half or?
The cost savings, the materials themselves are fairly similar, but the cost savings comes in as far as labor, waste. I don't know if you've ever had to carry off a dumpster off of a job. You don't have dumpsters and dumpsters full of waste that you're having to get rid of. So you have cost savings there. If you build it properly, if you don't go in with marble floors and you don't go with gold fixtures, you can have a great house at a fraction of the cost of the houses they're building now. You don't have to have attics. You don't have to have all the wasted space that we do. So that's why I'm pushing these. And I have no affiliation with this. I don't have a company. I don't have a contractor's license, anything like that. This is just an idea for y'all to save money because you only have X amount of money to go into any given project. So,
It's a good idea.
okay?
Appreciate it.
All right.
Thank you, Ms. Everson. Who does?
All right, next up, Jason Smith, insurance.
For an option.
How y'all doing?
Hey, Jason?
Appreciate y'all letting me speak. I just got something to ask. If we county might can look into getting some insurance for the employees that handles short-term disability. Because at this time, we don't have any short-term disability insurance at all. It would help us out if we have to stay out for a long period of time. And that's what I would like to ask.
Don't we have the Aflac?
That hasn't been, that's something that some of the county employees had, but that hasn't been used or reissued in a long time. So very few people have it.
Is that considered to be short-term?
Well, that's a supplemental, so yes, you could.
Okay.
What about the insurance that y'all had outside of the county insurance? There were employees that had outside insurance that they was purchasing that was short-term and long-term.
It wasn't actually short-term, it says, it's like a supplemental long-term.
Long-term.
Wasn't short-term.
Yeah.
Yeah, even though that S is for supplemental, not short.
So there's still, that insurance company still exists for them? Because I think we got an email pertaining to that.
Yeah, that's the one that we were talking about that was reinstated, but it's still supplemental. It wasn't a short-term policy.
No. Yeah, I checked into that too. It's only long-term only. And you got to be out for 90 days before it kicks in.
Before it kicks in?
Yep.
Now, with the Aflac, is that pretty much kick in day one?
I don't have it, so I didn't know it was offered to us.
Okay.
The only thing
I know we
have.
have some employees that have the Aflac,
Mhm.
and I think that's a short-term kind of disability policy. It
Right.
supplements when you're out,
Right.
pretty much.
Yeah, I
And I
didn't
think
know.
it's pretty much income that pays you directly.
Right, I didn't know we had that. I don't have it. The only thing I had the PIVA insurance and I have cancer insurance. That's the only thing I have.
Would it be okay that Jason get with HR and see what's available out there for him?
Yes.
Yes,
please.
absolutely.
Thank y'all.
Thanks, Jason. All right, that's all the public comments. Our visitors did not show up, so we'll skip on over to council reports. I'll be very brief. I'll be traveling to Washington DC next week with SCA. They're hosting all 7 chairs of the county councils in the SCA region. We have meetings with all of our local federal delegation and also NNSA. We're going as a regional group to ask for funding for the entire region. On May the 28th, I've been asked to attend the Joint Bond Review Committee meeting in Columbia. Our request to draw down $2.5 million in law enforcement consolidation funds from the SRS litigation money is on the agenda for that day. And also we had a budget workshop this week. And then next week we're going to have another budget workshop meeting. That's what, next Tuesday?
Next Monday?
Next Monday.
Yeah.
And that's all I have. So move on to Mr. Robinson.
Thanks, Mr. Chairman. Just briefly, tomorrow I will be attending the SRS CRO sponsored regional workforce roundtable discussion. And this is discussion number 2. It's talking about workforce issues. And I don't know if you're going to be there or not. You're not part of that committee?
Not on that.
Okay. And it will be from 10 to 3 at the Applied Research Center, which was part of SRS. It's right off of 278. And hopefully we can learn some additional information. I did receive an email, and as council know, I've been having a problem with my email. But shortly after we had the SRS presentation, I noticed I received an information email about further discussion about Allendale County workforce at SRS. So I'm gonna try to reconnect. It's been about 2 or 3 weeks when that email was sent to me. I saw it on Monday, and I'm gonna reach out to Emily Seasby. She was here when we had Dave to talk with us last month, and they've initiated further discussion, and I may be asking others to come in and participate in that discussion concerning Allendale County residents working at SRS. It is if you're gonna live here in this region, and I'm sure Franklin could tell you, it's one of the better places to work. And I can remember when we had 110 employees, now we're down about 25 to 30. So we've lost quite a bit. And there's opportunities. They've hired already this year about 1,200 people. And Allendale may have 2 out of that 1,200. So we want to change that equation. Also, as you know, we've been entertaining Mr. Craig Brown. He is one of the new industry entrepreneur type gentlemen. He has worked on at least one of our vehicles for emergency lighting. I talked with the sheriff about it, and he's been well pleased with the work. His mother is the PR director. She's sponsoring a first responder golf tournament at Sweetwater in Baltimore. And that date on that is the June 14th. It's on Friday. And it should be a good event. I've never, like most of you, participated in a lot of tournaments, but I've never participated in a first responder tournament. And I hope the county will support that, either with a sponsorship on a whole, etc. Also, Mr. Brown has arranged for a meeting in Oxford, Alabama next week, I think it's 23rd next week, or the 24th. Next Thursday would be the 23rd.
23rd.
Yes. Sheriff is on the list to go. I'm on the list to go. I will not be able to go. I will ask someone to take my place. I hope we can arrange to go as a team, the town of Fairfax and the town of Allendale. I think there's 4 or 5 participants that will be attending. Oxford has a state-of-the-art camera system for their law enforcement personnel, and they have invited us to come and take a look at how they operate their system. According to Mr. Brown, there's numerous grants for law enforcement, municipalities, as well as county law enforcers that hopefully we can tap in. So, all that being said, I probably would recommend that a grant writer will attend that, and along with the law enforcement personnel, might be able to learn the do's and don'ts on how we can acquire some of these grants. And kind of look forward to getting a report, Sheriff, from you on that, what you think. And do we need it? Yes.
Yes.
Because on the way here, I saw Sled and the Bloodhound right off of Gum Street, which accumulated, I think, down on Bay Street with a chase. Camera system was certainly, even though daytime, they were pretty much right on it, but that's not always the case. So it would be nice if we had a state-of-the-art camera system that will help law enforcement more quickly apprehend. Lastly, based on the chairman email last night on the capital sale tax project. The $100,000 for USC Salk parking lot, that's the county contribution. You know, I don't know what it's gonna cost for USC Salk to do that parking lot. So we just need to make a contribution. Council has approved a $100,000 contribution for that effort. I don't need to know what it's gonna cost. Citizens don't need to know what it's gonna cost. We just want to be able to say that the county will, from the capital sale tax, influx $100,000 to that project. Thank you.
Ms. Taylor?
Mr. Bill,
Yes,
can
sir.
I ask, being that you're not gonna be able to go to Alabama, I would like for one of the county council members, if they're available, to go with me and Bill Jr. I think that one of the council members need to be present so that we can try to get this federal and state funding.
What date is it?
The 23rd.
Thursday, the 23rd.
It's Thursday. I'll just be coming back from Washington, so I definitely won't be able to make it.
Well, we fly you out Alabama to meet you down there.
That'll be good. If that work will do.
I will not be able to go on the 23rd. The Democratic Party will be sponsoring a voter forum here at the courthouse with the candidates for county council and Senator Brad Hutto. So I won't be able to go to Alabama. No, that's next Thursday.
And you know, I would love to represent the county, but however, I'm one of the candidates. I need to be here.
I'll give you the answer tomorrow morning. I'll give you the answer tomorrow morning.
I think it'd be a good trip. It's about a 6.5, 7 hour drive.
7 hours and 7.5 hours.
Okay.
To location.
I'll give
And
you
you
the
know-
answer tomorrow morning.
You don't need to spend the night, just to leave early and come
Oh,
back.
I'm not spending that because I got to come back for my son's graduation the next day.
Okay, all right.
All right, Ms. Taylor?
Yes, sir. Last month on April the 26th, we had, at the Brandt Building, we had a SC Works Rural Connection workforce by Ms. Mandy Lohr, and we had a great turnout. We had 26 people to show up, and 5 was veterans, and they would like to continue to do that again. Next on my list, I have, Ms. Jennings and I had a park and a recreation meeting on last night, and some of the things that took place in that meeting last night, it was, you got some of the seniors that will be attending a trip to Myrtle Beach. I think they said approximately 32, they're trying to get 40 senior citizens to go to a retreat. And they also will be attending the June Festival in Gifford. And baseballs hadn't kicked off yet, they're in the process of doing it. And another thing came out of it was the committee, not Ms. Jennings and I, the committee. They want to they discussed last night by subbing out the concession stand, said that would be able to help Parks and Recreation if they would be able to sub while they do something else. And another thing they talked about was getting a building for Pinckney's Park so that they can have bathrooms so they can use up there at Pinckney's Park. That's what, and that's through the park money. That's a discussion. I mean, it will come back before us. We just bring it for information. Next is I spoke with our treasurer today, and she shared with me everybody got the information that she sent out to us. And some of the concerns that I see that we need to address is that we was given approximately $3 million came to this county, was not allocated this year. And because of that, they say our bill is still behind. And why, I don't know. And we need to I'm asking council for us to get together to talk with Chanel and find out and get an expense report, because we need to have a check and balance. According, if I'm wrong, Miss Smith, sorry, please forgive me, and Miss Chanel, please correct me. But the check books are not being balanced. So we need to make sure, we need to get an expense report saying what coming into this county and what being spent going out. And we really need to get on top of that, guys, because we don't know. We got an extra $3 million this year from West Fraser and the manufacturing company, which Ms. Smith sent it in our, report this month. But we don't know how the money is being spent, and I think we need to know, have a check and balance. And I asked who was doing the balance in the checkbook, and I think right now nobody's doing it. Is that correct, Ms. Chanel?
That is not correct for the accounts payable account. So we have access to only the accounts payable account and the payroll accounts, and that is being, anything that comes in is being checked off that it was paid. And the reports I just gave us are all the expenses that were put into the system to be paid. Now, anything else, because we're not hooked up to the bank, that's a different thing. I worked on it. I just, 2 days ago, downloaded 994 transactions to our system because we only have QuickBooks in ours, so I had to download the bank transactions to ours.
We don't have that new system in
Well,
place?
that's the next question I was gonna ask, Mr.
Well, that's in my report.
The next question I was gonna ask, when we would be going live on Springbooks, because we would be able to see all our finances if they was on Springbook.
Well,
When we would be going live?
yes, we'll be going live next month because I made sure, they said December of 2024. I've been pushing and fighting. So we're training next week and we're going live in June. I made sure we got another team and I did not give up until they said we were going live. We're going live next month, beginning of June.
June the 1st?
That's what they told me.
Okay, they told you December too, but it didn't pan through, so hopefully it'll pan through this time. So
Ma'am,
we're looking forward to going
I got a
live.
new team.
Okay.
Got a new team with the number. The date says we're training next week. We're training next week, and I asked for finance and treasurer to proceed. We have a new a lead person because the other team was not available then. They said that we'll be training at the beginning through the next week, and then the following week, they'll do cleanup, and it said June 1st.
When we gonna train that?
We're gonna be training on our computers. That's why I set up the Cirrus agent. That's already been set on the computers. We were just waiting on that.
Okay. Mr. Taylor, may I just inject something? You know, one of the things, and I should have made it part of my report, what we did on Monday was very helpful, or Tuesday, might have been Tuesday, yeah. And I think we're getting a very good handle on where we are. And the meeting with Angela was certainly very helpful. What I like to see that office, admin office, do between now and June 30th, we need a listing of all unpaid debts. That may be a task, but giving you 6 weeks to come up with a complete list of unpaid bills. I think council gonna need that moving forward in this budget process. And one of the things that we talked about early on was the influx of money that we receive unexpectedly. We should have went ahead and prioritize it. We didn't, but I think we need to be able to see where the money is being spent. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, did I understand in our meeting on Tuesday, when you asked the question to Ms., I think it was to Ms. Dodson, do we have bills that's 2 years past due? Did you ask that? And she said no.
Somebody did. Somebody asked the question.
I thought you did.
I think it was brought up before.
Yeah, but we don't have any bills that's 2 years past due.
Well, what was stated was the accounts that have long balances, or that's about 45%, that have issues with them. And that's why there are some things past due. So the accounts that are lingering are past due.
Yeah.
Now, as far as the rest of the bills, they are current. Any current bills that are due are current. They were in a separate account. And then all the other past due bills, they have problems with them.
We just need to know what's past due.
I'm not sure that that's possible. We're already understaffed.
Even in 6 week time, we don't think we've had that.
we're doubling up, we've doubled up since we, since the department is downsized.
Mr. Chair, if I may, why don't we advertise it for administrator then? I mean, maybe we might need to go ahead and get someone to help out in that office that can get things done that needs to be done. And that's the problem. Mr. Robinson, you're requesting 6 weeks worth of work, 6 weeks period, and they can't get it done in 6 weeks. So maybe we do need to advertise to hire administrator.
I think one of the things I was thinking about, and we've talked about this in the past, is there any way we can get some interns from USC / Denmark Tech to come in and help us catch up?
I could try. Remember, I did ask council for help and I didn't get an answer.
Okay. But I think Salk has, the last conversation I had with their personnel folks over there, and even though school's out now, but there may be somewhere where we can get an intern, Denmark Tech, maybe an intern from them, that could come in, 2 to 3, 4 hours a week or whatever the case may be per day, and just help compile and listing of all the data. It wouldn't cost us a whole lot, and for them it'll be some training,
And I'm sorry.
in terms of administrator, I think that's something we just gonna have to talk about at a later date.
Well, she needs help. If she needs help, she's requested for help. So if stuff's going lacking for the county, we cannot let it go lacking because of lack of help.
But we need an HR director also.
Yeah, I agree. So it could be hired at HR, does that be administrator? I'm talking
Yeah.
about hiring someone to get the job done.
Yeah,
And not
before,
just, I'd like to see Mr. Robinson, if I may, accountability, check and balance. We are constantly spending taxpayers' dollars when we don't have check and balance.
well, you've always been an accountability expert, and I appreciate that.
Okay, thank you.
So, and not to prolong this, real quick question. So, with the question that Mr. Robinson asked, would it be an issue if, is the 6 weeks the problem? Or, would you just need more time? Because we might even ask for help and we still don't get it. And then we're still not getting the information that's being requested. So might it be an issue of, 8 weeks? I'm just trying to get a feel of what might.
Part of the issue is, so when I got here, there were additional people in this department. So there was an administrator, there was an HR director. They're gone. I've taken the 2 roles. And matter of fact, I'm the administrator and the CFO, and I've even done the Springbrook, creating the chart of accounts, that whole implementation single-handedly.
You've done a good job.
So on top of that, the HR person is gone, so Esther has taken all those functions. If you must know any of the transactions that are recorded, that are supposed to be recorded, and the reconciling that was happening, that usually happens at the treasurer's office, it was happening. Esther was doing it, all the accounts. We do not have access to all those accounts, couldn't pull any of the reports, couldn't do any of that. As I said, I just in accounts payable, every transaction is being checked off. I just downloaded 994 transactions because our QuickBooks, we're writing checks, paying bills, was not hooked up to the bank. That is so we could get an accurate balance of what was really happening. Plus, I still have to record those journal entries that happened over here that are not in that account.
Sure.
Now, if you add this on top of that, the expense reports I gave you, I'm giving you, that's March, that's April, every report I've given you is every bill that we have paid in this system. That's those reports. The reports are on the front. It shows you where we are with the budget. It actually has the individual pages and the line items of where the expenditures are spent. Are we checking that? Yes. But we can only check what we have and we can see.
This is
But
a great,
that is
this
the
is a
general
great
fund.
report.
But
And
that's what I'm
why don't we
giving you.
save that discussion for Monday night? Thank you.
Ms. Taylor, got anything else?
And Mr. Chair, if we have to volunteer, I'm retired. I don't mind volunteering. I don't want to get paid. I don't want to mess with no money now. I mess with paperwork. Is it clear? I don't mind volunteering, keying in, not money. But anything I can do to assist this county, I'll be glad to help out.
Well, I would say Chanel will call upon you to come on in every day for a couple hours and help.
Okay, as long as they're there to help me.
They
They
will.
ain't dealing with money.
They
All right.
will.
Anything else, Ms. Taylor?
No, sir.
All right, Mr. White?
Sure, I'll be very brief also. Last month I mentioned that, as a part of the comprehensive plan that we're developing for the next 10 years, we talked about housing the last time, and I did meet with Mr. Ennis of Allendale County Alive. We know that Allendale County Alive for a little over 20 years has been a valuable resource in our county regarding housing. Allendale County Alive obviously has forged many relationships with USDA, South Carolina Housing, HUD, and Federal Home Loan Bank. And that's definitely one of the needs that we have in our county when we look at everything that's happening right now and everything that's going to happen in the future. We're going to have to definitely address our housing issues. So one thing I would ask that the county do in the near future is to continue to support Allendale County Alive in any way that we're eligible to do so. I know that with some of the upcoming projects I discussed with Mr. Ennis, Allendale County Alive is going to be able to rehabilitate approximately 10 houses per month. And we know that our housing stock is aging in our area. Also, Allendale County Alive has been assisting with home ownership through Federal Home Loan Bank of Atlanta. So there's so many programs that are going on right now, and with everything that we're talking about with economic development and for our citizens and also our aging population, we definitely need to take advantage of these programs. So I'm going to continue to bring forth information about that, and like we said, if we know of anyone or any particular area that's in need of housing rehabilitation, we just need to continue that partnership. That's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. White. Ms. Jennings?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good evening, everyone. The first thing I would like to discuss, and which I've been doing this for several months now, is for the county to show some accountability for our employees. Still, our employees come to work and they don't sign in, and they leave, they don't sign out, all during the day, they're in and out. There's no accountability. I don't know how difficult it is to establish something. Can we just get a sheet of paper and do a sign-in sheet and sign out or something like that? That's what I did when I worked. But I think that, I started this in 2023, now we're in 2024, and we still do not have anything in place, and I'm requesting that before the year is out, because the whole year went by last year and we got nothing. And so this year, I'm hoping that something will be put in place for our employees. The next thing, I would like an update on the fire station in St. Mark area, and I think that I know that we've already purchased the land for the fire station, but I need an update to where do we go from now? The house is still there where the fire station is going to be located. The land has to be cleared, a fence put up. So what is the plan going forward now to get that done? When do we start doing something?
I have spoke to the chief about getting some information on a new building, and he said that he would be glad to do that. And he's got a report coming up soon. I'm sure he'd be glad to share the information or progress that he's made or his plans moving forward with the building. I think we've all talked, about getting Public Works to tear down the building. I think that's just a matter of getting them out there. Should be done. I mean, if you get them there, they should be able to tear it down and get it cleaned up in a week easily. So I think the fact of just getting the building and getting concrete guy lined up and just get our Public Works on board, and it shouldn't take very long.
Okay, thank you. Also, I have a report from our delegation from Representative Hosey and Senator Brad Hutto, and it concerns the Office of Aging. With approval of council, several weeks ago, we requested $325,000 for a walking trail for the senior citizens and for additional access to the facility on Highway 278. And I received a report that it was approved for the council. I spoke, for the county, I spoke to Senator Hutto yesterday, and I asked him about, the possibility of them, reducing the amount of funding, and he said no, that he'd spoken to several people, and it was gonna go, we still was gonna get to $325,000 for the Office of Aging. Also for the St. Mark Fire Station and for a park in the St. Mark area, I requested $1.2 million from our delegation. That was also approved by the delegation, the $1.2 million. Also, the council requested $620,000 for the sheriff department for vehicles. That was also approved by the delegation. I received a call from Congressman Clyburn's office, as well as Ms. Lewis received a call as well. And on the second Saturday in March, the Democratic Party held their county convention, in which Congressman Clyburn was scheduled to come to that convention, but because of tornado threats, it was advised that he did not come. So we spoke to him by phone at that convention. And at the convention, he said, I'm going to help Allendale County. He said, I'm going to help Allendale County. He did not say at that time what he was going to do. All he said that he was going to help Allendale County. Well, Ms. Lewis and I received a phone call from Congressman Clyburn's office several weeks ago, and he's allocated $2 million for Allendale County for us to use to renovate, I believe, some of our buildings and roofing, whatever we need to do some repairs to some of our buildings. And I believe the Office of Aging was mentioned, the voter registration office was mentioned, and the administration office was also mentioned.
The courthouse.
And the courthouse. And also, I spoke to, after the incident that happened a couple of weeks ago when a 14-year-old died, and I called Senator Hutto that Sunday and expressed my concerns about this law. The sheriff, he had to keep telling me the name of the law, Constitutional Carrying Act. And I expressed my concerns about the law that they passed. And he said, well, I didn't vote for it. I said, well, we had a 14-year-old to die. And that was the Sunday after the accident. And so I said, you need to go back and talk about it when you go back to session on Monday. But he gave me a call, so he did talk about it. And what he said is that, now I don't know who's gonna do it, but he said we're gonna provide some cameras for Allendale County because of what had happened. So he's gonna be talking with the chief of police and the sheriff, or whatever, in the Allendale and Fairfax, and the sheriff, and to provide some cameras for the county. Also, as I said earlier, next Thursday, on the 23rd, right here in this courthouse, we're going to have a voter forum featuring none other than Councilman Teresa Taylor and the other candidates, Mr. Browning, who is sitting in the rear, and other candidates.
It's gonna be here?
It's gonna, not in this room here,
Okay.
in the courthouse,
Okay.
in the courtroom.
Okay.
And John Chaney, along with Senator Brad Hutto.
Great.
And so all of you at 6 o'clock, and everyone is invited to attend that forum. We look forward and seeing you. And that, Mr. Chairman, you have any questions about that?
I do. Who requested the money for St. Mark Park and Fire Station?
We did.
We did?
Yeah, we did. County council signed it.
Yeah.
We did?
Yeah.
Well, now you didn't sign it. The county council signed it.
That's the one I missed. I was out of town, y'all.
Yeah, we put that together,
Is that
man.
one?
Yeah, I think so. But anyway,
County council approved it.
Okay.
my hat's
Did
off.
y'all approve it? That was part of our request that we did?
I think
Or was it
right
separate
after,
request?
I think right after we were in Columbia, we kind of drafted that letter too, and I think we had to go back and make some changes. But either way, it was included at some point, and we should have a copy of
We do
those
have
letters.
copies of it.
I mean, money's good, though.
Yeah.
I was just curious
Well-
where it came from.
Well, my hat's off to,
No, it's good. I mean,
yeah, to this council, because I've always said since my years here, and I know Walter heard me say it more than once, if you don't ask, you don't get.
Well, we definitely have asked this,
You know,
that's for sure.
and we could have probably received money each year if we'd
Is
asked.
that addition to the one that we did send?
Yeah, because the, Office on Aging, the Sheriff's Department was part of our
That's what I
original.
said, but no, we sent that one.
Yeah.
It's additional, so they'll get more than what we sent the first letter. Remember the one we went to?
Well, some of it's in the first letter, some of these projects are included in that.
That's what I'm saying, so-
Sheriff, yeah. Some of it, I guess, got
Yeah.
chosen, some
Yeah,
didn't.
well, you know, the public work didn't get chosen, but we got additional money for the sheriff department, which
Right,
is really good.
yes, absolutely.
And I think it's behooves the sheriff to get on that trip to Oxford. And it looks like Senator Hutto is gonna get us some camera money. So we need to, and my hat's off to Councilwoman Jennings. I know she has spearheaded that and kind of prompt this council to ask to write a letter. And it has paid off.
So, for sure. All right, Mr. White, you had something?
Yeah, I want to revisit something in your report, Ms. Jennings. The first thing you stated about the employees and accountability. Can if I'm in order, can I let Ms. Lewis speak to that?
Well, I presented a system with Andrews, and it was a biometric system that did your fingerprint. And I provided the cost to council. They said it would take 45 to 60 days before they would even begin the project, and after that, the initialization was 4 months. Council rejected that because they said it took too long, but that was a system that I did propose because all the other things that I proposed were not accepted. And the reason why I chose the biometrics is you can't cheat for somebody because you only have one fingerprint.
And what was the cost of that?
That was about 40,000 to initiate, and I believe it was somewhere around 11,000 per year, but I would have to revisit
Okay,
it.
revisit. Since we got some money now, we might.
Okay, but that was the thing, when I brought it forward before, it was, that it was gonna take too long and,
I think she may have answered the question with some of the monies, influx of
You have
money.
something else?
Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, but in lieu of that, I know that there is some kind of system, and even though we're not using that system, there's some kind of sign-in system that's being used currently, isn't it? Because I know. Okay.
I can tell you one of the simplest way that I was, in my working career, is each manager would keep a working document on reporting of their employees, the time they report in, the time they check out. And I know some employers, 12, 13, 14,000 folks, they don't have time clocks. They depend on their managers to report their people in and out, days off, and et cetera. So it's not inventing the wheel here. It's pretty simple. We get our managers to do what they're supposed to do.
Okay, and before we move on, Mr. Robinson asked me to, give a status on Tintan. I know there's a lot of people still saying that they're not coming, and they may not, but they are still in the works. SCA has recently, I think within the last month, secured an attorney in Vietnam to represent SCA. Because there was a big communication lag between 12-hour time differences and obviously different languages and stuff. So they have secured a law firm in Ho Chi Minh City. So they are still in the process of moving forward. You know, not saying it's a done deal by any means, but they are progressing and making some steps forward. So hopefully we'll have some more information in the near future.
Very good.
Ms. Chanel Lewis, administrator report.
I would like to begin by adding on to what Ms. Jennings said about Clyburn's office, and they have been awesome with making sure that we got the requests in. And by the way, I did add Public Works into that list, just so you know. I wanted to let you know that we got that we had 3 days, myself and staff, to put that together, and I would like to thank William and Angela for helping me put that and submit it within a 3-day period. Yes,
Okay.
sir.
You know, the last time we met with their rep, excuse me, last time, we also talked about our water system. You know, Dalton came down and wanted to know because of the new industry that's coming down, and at that time, he was talking about how could he help us with that. Is that included in that 2 million? Any?
No.
No, he said that has to
We
be
do,
separate.
I will say.
Right, that's what the
one of
SCA.
One of the things the SCA is doing next week
Yes,
is
sir.
is going after major money for water, sewer, or wastewater treatment plants and stuff like that.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, he said, I think Dalton said something about a study had not been done yet,
I think that's undergoing on the way, I believe.
Yeah, we'll have some information on that tonight.
Yes.
next month.
Tonight.
No,
We'll have some information on it tonight.
Oh, okay.
I'd like to give you an update on the Advanced Leadership Institute project. I provided them with the information from our forum meeting. We should be getting information from them by the end of the month. And when I receive the reports, I will distribute them to all the different agencies that participated, and of course, council being first. The Springbrook training is set to go live on Monday. So that is Monday the 20th. We got the schedule, we finalized that. We finalized it yesterday, and the time, so we're gonna be training for this next week, and then the following week, and I said that we needed finance and the treasurer's office to go live quickly. We're having too many difficulties with the audit and all the other things, the financials, to get them straight. So they changed our team. This is actually our third team because of any other delays or whatever happened. It was already supposed to be in progress when I came along. So we have a new person starting on the 20th. We'll be training. We go live June 1st, according to them.
Okay.
So we have training the first, next week. The following, a couple of days right after Memorial Day, there'll be some information crossovers, then live after that.
So we don't have to change our time for our budget on Monday? That wouldn't?
No, because they're on a different time zone, and I scheduled it for 10.
Okay.
So we have the daytime to get that done. But I've been pushing this whole time because, as I said, they tried to, when after everything that happened in December, that was the second change, they tried to push it to December of 2024. I just stayed on it because I said we cannot wait that long. We can't do this another year. And they yielded finally this week
Okay.
to my requests.
Let me go ahead with your report. I got a question.
Okay, so we have a budget workshop again on Monday, this upcoming Monday at 4 p.m. That should not interfere with our training. And the public is invited to attend. We will be going on with additional information, and I've actually provided, obtained quite a bit of the information that council requested me to get updates on. I have a good amount of that, and I should have most of it completed by tomorrow. So I will be ready for Monday. Already some of the questions are already answered.
Okay.
And
Will that be at the admin office?
it will be at the admin office. Thank you. And so building and zoning forms, they're being finalized. I met with Mr. Grubb this week. He looked at the forms, he has some recommendations, and once he gives me the recommendations, he said he likes the direction we're going. Once we make those changes, the recommendations, then I'll submit those forms to the attorney for approval so that we can send those forward along, and I know I sent a bunch of ordinances, the 5 ordinances, so this is the next thing to get us moving forward. We also talked about getting the system ready so that we can have a more robust system so we can get collect the proper fees and things on permitting and inspections. So that is in the works too. So I should be able to give you an update on that soon. And the audit update, when I asked Mr. Buddy about the audit, he said that he thought it would take a couple of months. He's not sure exactly why, how long it's gonna take as a time frame. It's because we have one system here, and he said part of the general ledger is missing. And so, and he has to add the treasurer side, and he has to put the two pieces
He
together.
has to create a journal ledger.
He has to do that and put all those things together from the two different sites.
Okay. I got an email yesterday evening asking if the county was a member of NACO.
I thought we were.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And my answer to them was, yes, we are. I just need to make sure we pay them,
Okay.
because
We were, and I think we went unpaid for years, and I think whenever they were helping with some of that money,
yeah,
and I think that's when Mr. O'Rear was here, ran into him at one of the conferences, and one of their reps came up, and we got it paid up, so I don't know if we're current, but I know we did.
okay.
Did
And-
I will check that for you.
And this came from someone from Aiken County, so I don't know if I'm gonna find out tomorrow exactly. But I did answer yes, because 5 years ago we were not, and we met with them at the Association of County and agreed to renew that membership. I just need to know if you can verify that we still are. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
I will. And that's the end of my report.
All right, thank you very much. Mr. Walter Sanders, attorney report.
Okay, just briefly, the Boogaloo Crossing and the land now is in the county's name. That's going to be used for that. And I'm thinking that the engineer, they're moving forward again. I think because of the time limit that it's been since they submitted their documents, they're having to resubmit some more to the Department of Transportation and to the river. But we should be ready to move forward with it once that's done and finally get this 20-something year project completed.
Very much needed.
And the other thing, I had gotten this afternoon, which I know is not on the agenda, which I was going to say if you could put it on your agenda for one of your meetings next week. I had gotten a request, they want to add some property in the county multiple park from Bamberg into the quad park.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, we do a resolution to agree to it. You know, it's the park with Allendale, Hampton, Bamberg, and Barney. So can you put that on your
Yes.
agenda for,
You have the resolution ready?
well, I have a copy of one, yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah, if you have it ready, we'll take action on it.
And when are you going, which meeting?
Tuesday?
We could do that on Monday, I think we
On
said,
Monday?
right. We're gonna meet on Monday, so we can get that,
Okay.
Judy, get that on the agenda for us.
I'll get her the information.
And then you let that one. So, Mr. Sanders, our attorney did review those 5 ordinances, and he said that with if minor changes, we can get them forward. He said I'm gonna let him finish.
Right, well, I reviewed them and, the form of them is basically good, but y'all need to read them and make sure it's, the details of what y'all want to do. Because there were, all the ordinances were good, but there were some accommodation taxes and short-term rental ordinance. But I have reviewed them and they're okay if it's what y'all want. So y'all will need to, have y'all gotten copies of them?
I think we all have copies of
We
it.
need to discuss
Well,
it.
I will resubmit because the business license one that I had before, it's a different ordinance.
Okay.
The other ones, I'll just make changes.
And the business license ordinance is a complete ordinance this time, previously it was not. But it has everything in it now to go forward. It has all the figures that are necessary, what it's gonna cost for everything.
Could we have those for our next council meeting to approve?
Sure.
Well, no, you got to have 3 readings.
Okay.
But to start it, you need to put them on your agenda for, in name only.
Can we do that Monday?
We passed the business in name only already, right? We passed the business license ordinance in
Yeah.
name
And that's
only
been-
already.
That's been
We got
revised.
2 more
Right,
readings.
right, right.
Yeah.
So if we can go ahead and do the other ones in name only, maybe Monday, and then we can get,
Are you gonna be available with, Attorney Sanders, because there's some
Yeah.
things in there we need to question, and there's
I'll
some
be there Monday.
Okay.
like you
Is it
said, there's
4
some
o'clock?
errors in there.
Yeah.
There's some errors that you need to clarify on. So please, before we approve them,
Ms.
let us
Judy.
know.
Well,
Make sure you get that on.
Y'all need to look at them.
We did,
And you probably need to determine whether or not and I'm not the elected official, but whether what it's gonna cost you to administer them is going to bring in enough money to
Exactly.
cover your administrative costs.
that's how it's.
You almost need to have a study to see what they're gonna bring in, because it's only for the unincorporated parts of the county where there are not a whole bunch of businesses like there are in the cities.
That's why we need to talk to it privacy, and to read over them and discuss before we,
But I'll be there Monday.
thank you.
all right? We have no old business. New business, we have an update and consideration for RFP for Allendale County Water and Wastewater Sustainability Planning and Evaluation. Mr. William Robinson Jr.
Thank you, Council. I just want to give you all an update on the report for the water system study. Just a quick overview of the process. In March, the county was, the South Carolina Rural Infrastructure Authority awarded the county the grant for the water study. April, we was accepted proposals. We had 2 firms that submitted proposals. Monday, the committee, me, Mr. Conley, and Mr. Barkin, we met to select a firm for council's approval. The firm we selected was Alliance Consulting Engineers. They've done several water studies. They've done them in Bamberg, Orangeburg, Clarendon, Anderson County, and Abbeville. And, the total cost, their projected cost is $205,000. All of that will be covered by the grant. Once they're approved, they can begin in the following month. Also, the projected completion date for their proposal is March of 2025. So we just.
That'll cover the whole county?
Yes.
Yeah, and they did have a very good proposal, and I think much better than the other.
Is this what Dalton was talking about, from Clyde's office?
Well, we're having, this is, SCA kind of headed this study up and helped us with the grant, to, the municipalities and the county all agreed to come together and evaluate the entire water system and wastewater system in the county to figure out where we are, where we need to be, and how we need to build up for the future. And this,
I think the study.
this report will give us some clear answers.
Yeah. I think that's one of the best things about the study as we move forward in the future. It'll kind of give us a pathway on what we want to do. So it should be good. And Alliance is certainly one of the top firms in the state and the tri-state. Really, they do a lot of work.
So at this time, I'd entertain a motion to accept Alliance Engineering for our water study.
So,
Second. Got a motion and a second to accept Alliance Engineering. Is there any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Robinson. Next, we've got an update on our ISO audit. Chief Franklin Stanley.
Thank you, Council. Citizens, I've been asked to give a brief update on where we stand on our ISO issues that we got going on in the county. To start with, obviously, back last year we were audited, and prior to that was 2012. The gentleman that came in, he was very thorough on everything he done, which was bad for us. But we lost our hauled water, and I'll explain what hauled water is. So we have 5 fire stations right now. Our ISO rating covers anything from 5 miles of the front door of any fire station that we have in the county. So what we have to be able to do at the two critical points is next door to the fire station and 5 miles out from the fire station. We have to be able to supply 250 gallons a minute for 2 hours solid without running out of water. Well, that requires two things. It requires us to have enough apparatuses to haul enough water to get to that location, but we also have to have hydrants, wells, some water source close enough for us to fill up without having to come all the way back. So we'll use Martin, for instance, because that's our furthest station away. If you went out 5 miles toward SRS from Martin Fire Station, that's going to be our most critical point that we deal with. Well, as it stands right now, being that Mill Pond had been dry for several years, our dry hydrant was no good up there. We did not get to use it this time in our ISO rating. So we started looking back to see what we could do in the area of getting a water supply out there and more water. And that requires obviously more trucks, but we do have an artesian well that sits at that station. So we've inquired on that to be able to use that well. To be able to use a well, you have to have at least flow 250 gallons a minute. So we've tested that. It flows 400 gallons a minute. We were told we needed to know what pump size, how deep the well was, what it would flow, all of that. Well, we don't have any of those records because that well's been there for however long. So if we pull that well, we're going to need to put a new pump on it, put it back down, know the depth of it. But then we were hit this past week, which he has not mentioned in 6 months of us dealing with this, but any well, now we've got to have a backup power supply on it. So now we've got to add a generator at that station to be able to supply power in case Dominion or Edisto, whoever that is up there, goes out. We're also in talks with our Caroma up in that area to be able to use their water system for filling. We're waiting on an answer back from them. I really don't see that being an issue. I'm sure that they're more than happy to fill out the paperwork we need to be able to use that. West Fraser has already granted us permission to use their stuff. They already have the paperwork and they're in the process of filling their stuff out because they also have their own water supply and hydrants. And there are some other issues across the county that we've been made aware of that we can pick up points with ISO. So we're also looking at those. But we'll tell you, this is not a tomorrow fix. And we're talking about money to fix this issue. We're working diligently on it. So that's my update. Chairman, Ms. Taylor, we talked the other day. Was there anything that I needed to add to that y'all remember our discussion?
Some of the big hits too were just as simple as having MOUs with the municipalities to be able to test and flow their hydrants. And me and Ms. Taylor's gonna work on that. And also, there were some training issues that you've already corrected.
Correct.
Some scoring. And I think if we can get the training part, the fire hydrants in the municipalities covered, and our water haul situation, I think we can probably come back and reevaluate it and get a better score, right?
Right. So I guess I can release it to the public because it's public information. We got no maintenance records nor flow tests from any of our municipalities on their hydrants. Now, the county had all of their stuff. So that hurt us on point-wise, and we did everything that I could do to try to get those. But the only fix to that, y'all, is, and I've talked to ISO, is for us to be able to get some agreement with the towns that the fire department goes in and does maintenance on them once a year and does flow testing on them every 5 years so that we have that information that we can give to ISO. That's the only way that we know that we're going to have it. So that's what we're working on to get some MOUs in place so that for liability issues and whatnot, and I'm sure that Mr. Sanders will be involved in some of that.
Mr. Stanley.
Yes,
When
ma'am.
I spoke to you last year about that, you mentioned about the municipalities that was not, a lot of them wasn't trained to test the hydrants, and you stated that your people, if we had an agreement with, and you remember I mentioned that to council, if we had an agreement with the town of Allendale and Fairfax, that your workers could train them
And
to
we
how
could,
to-
but some of the information that I got back on that was they didn't have the staff to do it with. Now, I won't
Well,
get into,
well-
they got regulations that they have to follow, and I'm not sure how they're doing that, but that's not our ballgame,
Well, the chief
as far as that, but.
has agreed to take that task on.
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna have to, if we're gonna fix this problem, and that's the
That
only,
was gonna be my next question, whether you would, go out and test the hydrants.
we're gonna have to do that. If the towns will allow us, now, we don't own their water systems, but we do have access to use them in emergency situations, and I think we would actually be doing them a favor of doing the maintenance on their stuff, us a favor and them a favor in the same aspect, and the citizens for that matter, because that's who it really affects, the folks that sit down here. So
Absolutely.
we owe it to them to take that on and get it done.
Well, in my district, on Railroad Avenue and Carroll Street, that intersection, that hydrant has been out, I know, for 18 months.
So
Are
that
you
is,
familiar with that one?
so there's several hydrants across the county in different municipalities that we have issues with. And I'm sure when we start testing, we're gonna have issues with hydrants, and that's part of why we need clarification in place and liability that if something breaks on a hydrant with us trying to do a good deed, that the county is not responsible for fixing that. So that's some of what we talked about before.
Sharon, I think she gave me a number of how many hydrants we had. Do you know that? You know that?
360.
Based on the last ISO, it was like 375.
Yeah,
or
so-
360, 375.
So that includes Allendale, Fairfax, the county's water system, and Ulmer.
It's 175 in the entire county?
360 to 375, somewhere in that neighborhood.
Oh.
So it's a lot of work ahead of us, no doubt. I mean, that's why I say it's not an overnight fix. And it's gonna take more pumper tankers that haul more water. What we're looking at now is 3,000 gallons. So when we get on the scene, we have 3,000 gallons on the truck. Versus a lot of our stuff now carries 1,000 to 1,500 gallons. So being able to carry that larger capacity when we go gives us more time to pump.
Okay. If you're looking for another well, I got one for you.
Well, and I will address that. We're not talking about residential wells. We're talking about 6 to 8 inch wells that we're talking $60,000 to $80,000 most likely to put a well in that's going to supply the amount of water we need. So,
Well, what
And
about,
that's what, I'm talking about a commercial well.
right.
What about
If
that?
you need one, I got one.
Okay.
what about the hydrants in Sycamore and Ulmer? Are they up to par?
Sycamore does not have any hydrants. Ulmer does. We did get part of Ulmer stuff, but we didn't get it all. And since we didn't get all of the data, they wouldn't take any of it. So it has to be a complete package or they won't accept any of it. So I will say, they did send part of it, we just didn't get it all.
Okay, what about the county? I'm not talking about Fairfax or Allendale.
County is A-OK. We have been maintaining that, maintenance in it, flow testing them. So as far as the county stuff, it was all submitted. That's, ISO had all of that.
We got a small system compared to the.
We do. We have 30-ish hydrants in the county, so, on the county water system.
All right. Anything else?
I will address the Martin Fire, St. Mark Fire Station real quick. We're in the process of, we've pulled all the data from the Appleton station. We're probably gonna need to build a station a little bit bigger, but being under that we have CCI in the county and all now, when that station was built, Public Works went in and framed and built the interior part of that. This is probably gonna need to be a turnkey job, which means we're probably gonna have to go out for blueprints on this. So I guess that's something that I need to get with Ms. Chanel and then push up to y'all on some blueprints and what it would cost to get an architect to draw those for us. Then that stuff obviously will have to go on Skibo and be bidded out so that we can get bids back on that.
So,
So
way to do it.
Okay.
that's where we stand on that.
Thank you very much. Dr. Mormon, do you have something?
Community Development Block Grant funding may be able to help with a tanker vehicle or some of the well stuff. So Chanel, let's see if my folks can help out with some of that. Because that's some of the stuff that community development block grants are supposed to be used for. I don't know the details, but I know in the bigger picture, hopefully we should be able to help. Like you said, it's not an overnight thing.
Right.
But if we can get you into the system and the pipeline on that, that would be something for next year.
Okay,
Okay?
great, thank you very much.
Hey, we'll take all that.
Exactly, try, yep.
All right, that does it for new business. At this time, entertain a motion to go into executive session.
So move.
Got a motion and a second. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
With a break.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
This time I call the meeting back into open session. Yep.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
make a motion that we revise and re-incentivize the county negotiation with Project Stone.
All right, you got a motion? Do I have a second?
Second.
We got a motion and a second to renegotiate the incentive package with Project Storm. Is there any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
make a motion that we enter into agreement with Stifer Company out of Columbia for financial advice. Yeah.
Second.
A motion and a second to enter into agreement with Stifel for financial consulting. Is there any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Chairman,
Yes, sir.
make a motion we adjourn.
A motion second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much.